Ravens fan, have you ever seen something so unfair happen to a player? Marlon Humphrey, one of our greatest defenders, is being targeted in a way he doesn't deserve, and the situation is getting worse. The latest news about him left everyone stunned, and I'm sure you'll be shocked by the details I'm about to share. What happened could change his future with the Ravens once and for all. Stay tuned, because in this video, you will understand exactly why Marlon doesn't deserve what's happening and what this means for the team. If you don't want to miss this story that could change everything, keep watching until the end. Go Ravens! The game between the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round was tough for Marlon Humphrey, who, in addition to the loss, had to deal with a hefty fine imposed by the NFL. The cornerback was fined $45,020 for a helmet-to-helmet hit on Bills quarterback Josh Allen just before halftime. What's intriguing is that the referee didn't flag the play at the time, and no one expected it to result in such a severe penalty. The helmet hit caught the league's attention, and they didn't let it slide. While the fine was surprising, it serves as a clear reminder of players' responsibilities to avoid dangerous plays like this one. This wasn't Humphrey's first fine this season. Earlier, he was fined $22,511 for a similar infraction, making the situation worse. The NFL appears to be unforgiving when it comes to repeat violations, and this was no exception. The higher fine shows that the league wants to send a strong message that helmet-to-helmet hits, especially those that endanger players' safety, won't be tolerated. Humphrey's repeated offenses carry heavier consequences, impacting both him and the Ravens. Beyond the financial hit, this fine puts Humphrey in an uncomfortable position within the team. The cornerback has always been a key player for the Ravens, but these discipline issues are beginning to affect his reputation, especially during a challenging season. If he continues to be penalized for such plays, he could lose the trust of the coaching staff and even the fan. Worse, this situation could impact his future in Baltimore. Though he has 2 years left on his contract, there are no guarantees. Each mistake could be the last straw, jeopardizing his long-term stay with the Ravens. The $45,020 fine's impact on Marlon Humphrey goes beyond financial loss. He was already fined earlier this season for a similar play, and now it's starting to tarnish his image both on and off the field. The Ravens' cornerback has been a crucial piece of the defense, but incidents like this can't be ignored by the coaching staff. These mistakes could start working against Humphrey, especially when it comes to securing his spot on the team. The fine is a direct reflection of his discipline on the field and can't be overlooked for long. This penalty comes at a time when confidence in Humphrey should be soaring, especially after a season marked by his all-pro performance. But as we've seen, repeated fines and infractions overshadow even the best performances, especially when they become a pattern. For a player as important as Humphrey, these fines are more than just about money. They raise questions about his professionalism, potentially straining relationships with the team and fans. Trust starts to erode when a key player makes repeated mistakes, particularly dangerous ones like helmet hits. It's also crucial to consider how penalties directly affect game results. In a game like the divisional round, which could have been the Ravens' shot at advancing to the finals, a reckless play can cost more than just a fine. It could cost a critical victory. Discipline is essential for a high-caliber team like the Ravens, and Humphrey's mistakes, even when not directly penalized during games, negatively impact the team's overall performance. These errors are not just individual issues. They ripple through the team's dynamics, especially during crucial moments. This fine adds to the uncertainty surrounding Humphrey's future, increasing the pressure on him. Without guaranteed contracts, his future in Baltimore is on the line, and these incidents do nothing to secure his position. If the fines and infractions persist, his stay with the Ravens could come into question. Now, Humphrey is not only under pressure to perform on the field, but also to address the long-term impact these penalties could have on his place in the organization. The impact of Marlon Humphrey's fines and penalties goes beyond his personal situation. The Ravens, as a team, have been struggling with serious discipline problems. During the game against the Bills, the Ravens committed 5 penalties for a total of 43 yards, while the Bills had just 1 infraction for 10 yards. This disparity highlights a deeper issue in Baltimore. The Ravens have been one of the most penalized teams in the league, and this behavior must be addressed urgently. A lack of discipline on the field directly hurts a team's results. In a season where the Ravens were fighting for a playoff spot, this kind of behavior cannot be overlooked. Penalties waste time and field position, disrupt plays, and often determine the outcome of game. Baltimore must focus on fixing these mistakes because, in critical games like the one against the Bills, every error can be costly. Penalties not only slow down the offense, but also weaken the defense, as seen in Humphrey's case, whose lack of discipline stood out as one of the game's low points. The Ravens coaching staff will have to reevaluate their tactical and disciplinary approach to ensure the team isn't consistently hindered by these infractions. Additionally, it's important to recognize that this issue isn't isolated to one player. Marlon Humphrey may have been the standout this time, but the Ravens as a whole have shown a tendency to commit penalties throughout the season. This culture of indiscipline needs to be broken. To achieve that, the coaching staff must invest in training and strategies to raise awareness among players about the importance of staying focused and avoiding infractions during game. This collective effort is necessary because discipline issues directly affect the team's overall performance. The team needs to reflect on its on-field behavior urgently, as this could become a long-term obstacle to the Ravens' success. Having talented players means nothing if they can't stay composed and avoid unnecessary penalties. If discipline doesn't improve, the Ravens' chances of returning to the playoffs in future seasons will be severely diminished. Now, the coaching staff and players must come together to resolve these discipline problems, ensuring the team becomes more competitive and avoids losing games due to avoidable mistakes. Well, we're already past the halfway point of our video, but I noticed you haven't left your like yet. This is really important so that YouTube keeps showing you my content, and I can keep bringing it to you. So go ahead and leave a like on this video. It's free, alright? Thanks. Let's continue. As the Ravens deal with their own disciplinary challenges, Marlon Humphrey faces significant uncertainty regarding his future in Baltimore. Despite having 2 years left on his contract, Humphrey no longer has any guaranteed money, putting his position on the team at risk. With ongoing fines and disciplinary issues, the cornerback may begin to lose the coaching staff's trust, potentially prompting them to decide it's time to move on without him. This lack of contractual guarantees creates instability for Humphrey, who knows that any mistake could be his last in Baltimore. Humphrey, despite his impressive on-field talent, must recognize that disciplinary concerns can no longer be overlooked. The Ravens have a talented roster, but a player like him, who has been a key piece in their defense, needs to align with the team's philosophy. And that philosophy demands more than just great plays. It requires commitment and focus. The $45,020 fine is just a reflection of behavior that, if not corrected, could lead to his departure from the team. With no guarantees in his contract, it's unclear whether he will have the chance to correct his approach or face being cut from the roster. This situation puts the Ravens in a tough spot, as Marlon Humphrey is a valuable player, but has shown a tendency to make costly mistakes for the team. The organization must decide if it's worth keeping a player who, despite his talent, could become a consistent source of problems both on and off the field. If disciplinary issues persist, the Ravens' leadership may have to seek another cornerback who offers greater stability. Now, Humphrey faces a choice: adjust his behavior on the field and prove he deserves to stay, or see his career in Baltimore come to an early end. Amidst this uncertainty, Marlon Humphrey has been reflecting on what might be the end of his journey with the Ravens. The cornerback knows that, with no guarantees in his contract and a complicated situation on the field, his future with the team depends on his actions in the coming months. He has even admitted that, deep down, he has no way of knowing if he'll remain in Baltimore next year. To him, the situation is simple. Some guys will stay, others will go. There's no way to know. Humphrey is well aware that if he keeps making mistakes like the ones we've seen, he could end up being cut from the team. This reflection from Humphrey is a clear sign that he understands the gravity of the situation. It's not just about performance, but also about how he conducts himself and how the team perceives him. Humphrey's future depends on his ability to adjust and prove that he can be a reliable part of the team. This means not only avoiding fines and penalties, but also keeping his head in the game and focusing on the opportunities the Ravens have. If he fails to do so, his journey with the team could end sooner than he expects. Humphrey, whose career has been marked by injuries and comebacks, now finds himself in a tough spot where he must prove he can still be a leader on the Ravens' defense. The pressure is immense, as he knows that with a non-guaranteed contract, he could be cut at any moment. But this pressure can also serve as motivation for him to reinvent himself and focus on what truly matters, helping the Ravens recover and achieve success. Now, Marlon Humphrey must decide whether to embrace this challenge or allow uncertainties and mistakes to dictate his future in Baltimore. more. Marlon Humphrey is facing a situation no player deserves, especially someone who has given so much to the Ravens. From the hefty fine to doubts about his future with the team, this raises serious questions about how the NFL and the Ravens should handle a player of his caliber. Now, what do you think? Does Marlon deserve this treatment, or is he a victim of something bigger? Share your opinion in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this chance to do so and stay updated on everything happening with the Ravens. See you next time